Good morning. It's Wednesday. It's July 30. Would you believe it? One more day in July. Yep. Then it's August. It's August in 2 days. Oof. How fast time flies. Oh, boy. Well, I've gone. The New York Post has some interesting. You can go to NewYorkPost.com and see their cover pages. Here's a cover page. This is today's paper. It's a $2 publication. It's a big publication. Yeah, it's probably 14 inches by 14 inches square. You can buy it online, or you can buy, if you're local in Manhattan, you can pick it up for $2 a copy. See right here, $2. Page 6 is a favorite place for editorials, about what's going on. Here's this guy's last words that he wrote. About his supposed CTE, which is an illness, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which he thinks he had. So he was mentally ill, he blamed football. So he was probably going in there to shoot up the NFL place, but he got in the wrong elevator bank, because certain elevators go to certain floors, and the elevator that he took went to the 33rd floor, 34th floor, something like that, whereas the NFL was at a higher level, and you had to go into a different elevator door that has, they have these little boxes that you slide your ID card in, which HR gives you when you get hired, by these organizations. So the building management has provided the tenants with certain elevators to use to get to their suites. And so he got in the wrong elevator and ended up shooting up the office of the building manager instead of the NFL. Oops, and as you can see, I reverse pinch this. 27-year-old Nevada gunman who killed 4, including a NYPD police officer, left behind notes claiming he had CTE and targeted the Park Avenue building because it contained the NFL headquarters, according to this editorial from the New York Post. Walking down Park Avenue with a rifle. He was walking fast. He had a mission. Terror on Park Avenue at 6:30 p.m. when, a lot of people already left. So he was in a hurry because he wanted to shoot him up. But, most of the people already went home. This is yesterday's paper, July 29. This is right here, right up in this band. Mostly sunny, 95 degrees. EU, you got a deal. There's Trump shaking hands with the political head of the European Union. And President struck a massive trade deal with the European Commission President. In Turnberry, Scotland, the EU agreed to buy $750 billion in American energy products and invest $600 billion in new money in the U.S. and purchase additional U.S. military equipment. Tariffs on many American exports will drop to zero. Duties on most European goods coming into the U.S. will have a 15% tariff. And the biggest deal ever made, according to Trump. You got a deal. Europeans to invest $1.35 trillion in the U.S. and accept 15% tariffs. That's not a bad headline, right? And here's the front page. The day the Hulk died at 71. Does it say here what he died of? Probably heart related because, he's got all these muscles. Kiss your job goodbye. I remember during a sporting event when he got caught hugging on the love cam or whatever they call it. He's got this lady in a bear hug, and he was the CEO that lost his job. Andy Byron resigned as head of a $1.3 billion AI company, Astronomer. The firm announced Saturday. His shocking fall came after he and his HR boss, Christian Cabot, were caught cadoodling at a concert that went up on the Jumbotron on Wednesday. So Sunday, July 20, you can see the date right up here. Yeah. New York Post. Sources say CBS canceled liberal host Colbert's show because he lost $45 million a year. There's a P&L statement that'll end your career fast. If all your bills, they're paying him $20 million, I think. Some liberal commentators are convinced CBS pulled the plug on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert because of his criticism of the settlement with Donald Trump. CBS and Donald Trump had a litigation between each other, and CBS settled and probably wrote Trump a big check. But sources say a lack of advertising and falling ratings were a drag on the network. I'll bet. Well, adios, amigo. Yeah. My way or the Huck's way. Hoax way. Instead of the highway. My way or the hoax way. Angry Trump says he doesn't want support of stupid Epstein conspiracists. Easy for you to say, right? Okay. Let's get over here and see what this little comment on pages 4 and 5. There's more, which I don't have. I just have the front page. In a furious Truth Social post and comments to the press, President Trump said the furor surrounding Jeff Epstein was a hoax orchestrated by Democrats. And those on the right who criticized his administration were past supporters who have been duped. This is Thursday, July 17th. Front cover. These are all covers. Okay. Shackled and dimmed. Socialist Zoe tells Biz, I'll raise taxes and you won't leave. He talks so much and says so little. Yeah. Well, the latest headline I read somewhere is he's starting to switch positions on things. Socialist mayoral candidate, so ran Ma'am Danny, excuse me. Ma'am Danny sat down with nervous business leaders yesterday and doubled down on raising their taxes. Say it's happened before and they didn't leave. Pressed on Israel and other topics, he often dodged the questions. Yeah, these guys, they say only what they have to say. Breaking Vladimir Putin. Fed up, Trump will provide more arms to Ukraine. Gives Putin a 50-day deadline, peace or face economic ruin. Well, he just shortened that deadline to 10 days. Let's see what this says. We'll zoom in on this. President Trump clearly angry with stalling a Russian dictator, Vladimir Putin, announced yesterday that Europe can buy weapons, including long-range missiles, from the U.S. to give to Ukraine. And there'll be 100% tariffs on Russian goods and secondary sanctions on any country doing business with Moscow if peace isn't agreed to within, now it's 10 days. Well, he said that yesterday, so now it's 9 days. Gotta keep track of when that's. Let's just say it started Monday. So July 14th was 10 days. So the 24th would be the end of the 10-day period, 24th, 25th, somewhere in there. New York Post cover on Sunday, July 13th. Donald Trump's protectors had the threat until 10 days before the rally, but they failed to tell anybody. The secret to service. And what's that all about? That's a famous picture right there, eh? You got shot in the ear, that was almost the end of him. The gunman missed President Trump's head by about a half inch. That's one heartbeat away from not surviving because of that bullet that's traveling at 3,000 feet per second. Captured his skull, it would have blown it up. That would have been terrible. At any time, but on national television, to see someone's head blow up. I've seen, those, that ammunition shot at like a gallon of water in a polyethylene jug. It totally explodes it. And it's just a jug of water. A gallon jug. 500 feet away. That bullet hits it, and that's the end of it. The Secret Service knew there was a classified threat to President Trump 10 days before assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, but never told the agents and never told local law enforcement, according to a congressional watchdog report released Saturday by Chuck Grassley. 1 year after the assassination attempt, Trump believes he is on a divine mission to set the country right. I'll say. Jesus. Good morning, America. This is a sunrise picture taken by Jenny with his trusty iPhone 16 Pro. And this right here is a peek at the ocean. It's a narrow peak. It's only about, 15-degree angle from up on our balcony. But you can see the ocean. You see the blue water. And the waves, that's a wave coming in. Yeah. Just regular waves. High waves. Anyway, that's a nice look. Look east from our balcony, 100 feet above street level. Mornings are for fresh starts. Evenings are for soft landings. In between, we simply do our best. You got that right. Worst case scenario of famine unfolding in Gaza under Israel's offensive. And Israel says, well, there may be famine. It's because Hamas is preventing these people from getting all the U.S. and Israeli food supplies and so forth that have attempted to be trucked into the area. But these people aren't getting any of it. So they're on a line, where they put the food in the pan, and then these guys run home and feed their families. It's terrible. New York PD commissioner describes how the shooting unfolded. Yeah, a guy with a rifle walked in the front door and started spraying bullets everywhere. Then he got on the wrong elevator and started shooting up that upstairs. After struggling to pay my bills for months, I used ChatGPT to help me budget. I finally feel in control of my finances. Oh, good. First look at iPhone 17 Pro. These public images confirm big design and camera upgrades. Yeah, I've been going over that over the last few days. And they're adding to the telephoto lens. Now, let me back up. The wide angle, the super wide angle, and the normal lens. There are 3 lenses on the back of that camera. On the back of this camera. You see the 3 lenses right there? Well, we're talking about this one and this one are 48 megapixel imagers behind those lenses. This one right here, and that one right there that I'm got my finger on, that's the telephoto lens. And that imager is going to be increased to 48 megapixels. That way, all 3 little tiny miniature cameras are going to have 48 megapixel imagers behind their lenses. And the telephoto lens is reported changing from 5x in optical zoom to 8x optical zoom, which that's a big increase. Inside a little, how the age of miniaturization has gotten crazy, and the quality of the pictures is astounding. So there. Trump says he ended friendship with Epstein because he kept stealing people that were working for me. I don't like him anymore. He's stealing my people. Yeah. More than a dozen slavery displays in Philly, including at Washington's former home, have been flagged for a Trump administration review. Whatever that means. Well, you have to read further. Oh, this will shake up Manhattan. Renaming the Kennedy Center for Donald and Melania Trump would violate the law that created it. He's standing up and waving to people. Some are waving back, some are not. Well, I was telling a friend of mine that the nice thing about the new iPhones, he's dealing with an iPhone 8 right now. And I said, well, iPhone 8, you're going to be missing out on a lot of software updates because the iPhone 8 is not capable of staying with, that will be removed from support pretty soon, if not already. And the one feature I was telling him that's very important. If you're traveling to another country, you can add an eSIM see the eSIM? You can add an eSIM from a local, let's say you're traveling to Europe. Let's say you land in Spain. Well, you go into a Spanish, cell phone store and tell them you want an eSIM, for local telephone calling in Europe. And they'll take your credit card information and then they'll send you a little applet that'll help you install the eSIM from the company you're dealing with. And then you're paying local rates when you make calls inside the country or anywhere in the European Union, probably. And you're paying their local rates instead of traveling from Fort Lauderdale and using your cell phone over there and paying long distance rates or however you camp onto the local networks over there. That's why the iPhone has capabilities for multiple eSIMs. And you don't have a car anymore. An eSIM is an electronic SIM. In other words, inside the phone, there's a little piece of memory that's carved out and reserved for activation or deactivation of an eSIM that's been provided to you. In other words, you leave the country, you deactivate the SIM. Your AT&T, if you're an AT&T guy, your AT&T eSIM will still be alive and well. So that's the feature of an eSIM, and you have two theoretical slots in your phone. You have your home base eSIM, and you have your foreign. Same thing if you go to Mexico. A lot of people like to go to, Mazatlan. I have clients that live, they own a nice condo. I don't have the address handy, but, you walk up a bunch of stairs and you walk right in the front door of the patio of this condo. It's remarkably beautiful. So you get yourself an eSIM from Mexico, and then you can make calls in Mexico. You find out the phone number of a nice place you want to make reservations. You call. All right, we went over the European Union deal. It's a big deal. That's $1 billion. 350 million. $1,350 million worth of a deal. Plus, we get 15% of everything they send into the country. That's a lot, because you got Mercedes-Benz, BMW, those are two big ones, car companies that you get 15% of all the cars that get shipped in here. Trump's also working on a little check that we might receive. Someone asked me today about cracking into an iPhone. And there is this gray key, the Celebrite. See Celebrite? I'm familiar with this. It's a Israeli-based company. Offers a suite of tools for mobile device forensics, including UFED, Universal Forensic Extraction Device. A UFED can extract and analyze data from a wide range of mobile devices, including iPhones. But know this, every year or so, Apple, gives these guys headaches because the Apple that makes the iPhones can, upgrade their commercial account because the folks that, Apple keeps changing their software in an effort to make it harder to break into. So any device that measures up to the standard established by the Universal Forensic Extraction Device requirements, the UFED can extract and analyze data from a wide range of mobile devices, including iPhones. So I did a little search and clipped this out. I'm going to send it to him. I think I'll do it now. How about that? There's my buddy. And we'll just add a couple of 1, 2, 3. And that's it. A friend of mine owns this island east of Toronto. And there's a house buried in those trees, and they have to take a boat, and they go right into the middle of this little island, where they can dock up there and get up to the house. It's their summer getaway. Nice. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Let's take a look at our radar for the day. There we go. We can see which way the wind is blowing. You can see a little string of clouds, which I probably caught that little string in that picture I showed you of 6:45. Let's see, when was that picture taken? up on the picture. 6:53 a.m. on July 30th. That's today. And you can see this little map shows where I took the picture. Because there's GPS. There's a little thing right in the middle of the picture. There you go. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. That was taken with the iPhone, and let's look at see if we can pull up on that. Let's see, 1/8500th of a second. The electronic value is turned down minus 1.2 EVs. So whatever the auto exposure had set up for the I turned it down because it was very bright, and I wanted to make sure we could see the ocean underneath this big bed of clouds. Yeah. The sun is right behind those clouds. It's right, like 2 minutes later, the sun was up over the edge of the clouds, which would have made this picture not possible. 9 megapixel image, 4032 pixels by 2268. You multiply that one by the other and you get 9 megapixel. Not complicated. So the lens I extended to 168 millimeter telephoto lens. The iOS was set at 40. That was an automatic setting. The f-stop at f2.8, which is magnanimous. See, the lens goes to 120 millimeters. You can see that 120. I can't do a reverse pinch. Oops. Can you see it? Can't hardly see it unless I go full screen. There you go. So now you can see all the XF data. There you go. Wednesday, July 30 at 6:53 a.m. There's the ID number of the picture. Oh, I hate to have to remember that one. I have 103,000 images on my iPhone. It's saved as that number. Yeah, but boy, that's a beauty. I like that picture. Yeah. These are the pictures of the headlines we were looking at. We got through them all. All right, I showed you this image right here. United States smartphone shipments and annual growth or shrinkage, whatever the case may be. And you can see on the top of the list, listed by order of, who shipped the most smartphones in the second quarter of this year. April, May, June. Quarter 2. Got sealed off, like last week. And then they published the results. Once the companies send the results to his Canal smartphone market pulse. So these guys go after the data. So so this is shipments in the USA. So now we're going to look at shipments in China. Mainland China's smartphone shipments and annual result numbers. Canal smartphone pulse. Quarter 2, 2025. Okay, Apple's down on the list here in 5th place. Behind Huawei, Vivo, Oppo. They're basically on the bottom of the list. At 10.1 million units, it's a 15% market share. And last year they had a 14% market share, and they delivered 9.7 million devices shipped to customers in quarter 2, 2004. Quarter 2, 2005, they shipped 10.1 million as opposed to 9.7 million. So they actually went up a couple of percent this year. Slow growth. But they just swallowed a big, international shipment to stock up their shelves instead of having to buy at retail or slightly below. Apple will increase iPhone 17 price by $50, with one exception. Do we know what that exception would be? I guess I didn't get there. The Hulk's daughter. I don't know how many heirs there are. I think he had a son also. At least. Brooks. We were told all Brooke ever really wanted was to protect her dad from people she felt were taking advantage of him. But after years of disagreeing with the Hulk over the matter, she reached out to his financial manager and had herself removed from the well. I don't know how you can do that. Wills generally don't have an out clause. And why she doesn't want to accept. She doesn't want to have any. Apparently, they all argue about everything. And she don't want to be part of it. This is where Trump said that Virginia was stolen from Mar-a-Lago Club. A stunning admission that could increase scrutiny of his relationship with the late financier. Hey, he's just a big wealthy guy in Manhattan that Trump knew at the minimum. And just basically, this guy was floating around in these, circles. Got invited to things. This guy right here, Emil Bove, was confirmed to a lifetime seat on the Federal Appeals Court, handling New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and where else? And Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Federal Appeals Court. The Senate narrowly passed his confirmation hearing. That's a picture of him testifying at the hearing and at the Hart Senate office building on June 25. Remember, we're having coffee with Jimmy. Sometimes I do all the talking. Other times I don't. There we go. Here's all the pictures. All right, I went through all those. There was a big earthquake off this peninsula from Russia. Right where the star is, the center of where the plate slipped. Major slippage, and created a what do you call it? 8.8 on the Richter scale, which is one of the biggest earthquakes. There's another view. So our friends over there in the northern part of Jacksonville, comes up around here and then heads over that way. So let's see where that's going to head this time. Kind of. So there's Alaska. They're worried about it. And Northern California is worried about it. That's a zoom in picture. That's a zoom out picture. Tsunami alerts issued for U.S. Naughty, naughty, mustn't do. That's when I had a Harley. That's a big one. Blum, blum. I was always very, very cautious. Had lots of power, so you could get out of the way of stuff. It's always in very good repair. It was garaged, so it was never out in the elements. There's our black cat. Kenya. There's the sunset. There's a girl packing a gun. Stuffed it right in their pants. Women for Trump. Carry his weapons. There's our news lady. Maryland news lady. This is the Lynn University, the Obama debate with Mitt Romney. So they had Lynn University signs hanging everywhere. So we had press passes. This is the pre-debate pass, which got us inside the whole thing. And then I was taking videos and interviews for the Observer TV. Carrying around Canon equipment. We were up there in the rafters, we were everywhere. This is a picture of a rally. You see the jet airplane behind November 4th, 2018. And right in the middle, right behind some chiefs in full feather. It's barely chilly outside. Some of these ladies are all bundled up. Stand up for America. Exciting. That was 7 years ago. See the Rocky Mountains behind? That's a picture, huh? Yeah. I did a little digital work on that picture. Yes, I did. There's a picture of Jimmy 5 years ago with Marilyn. We're at Chops. All right. I think I've covered everything that's coverable. Here's a new jet, the Bombardier, new Global 8000 series. Sets new benchmark for ultra long range aircraft. 19-seat Global. Travels 8,000 miles. You only need $83 million for the jet. A bargain price. 19-seat jet, twin-engine jet. Yeah, $83 million job. It's complicated owning a jet. You got to have service policy on the entire aircraft. And then you have a separate service arrangement for the engines. I forget whether they're Pratt& Whitney engines or what kind of engines they are. GE Aerospace Passport engines. Okay. Bombardier. This is, yeah. The Global 8000 represents the next evolutionary step up from the Bombardier Global 7500. Shares the same airframe and engines. They must have done a little something with the wing design. The fastest business jet out there. It goes supersonic, faster than the speed of sound. Woo! New smooth flex wings, reconfigured GE Passport engines. Max speed of 721 miles an hour. Mach 0.92. You have a little bed so you can take a little nap ski if you're going, if you're going to be going, quite a few time zones, one way or the other, giving you jet lag. So you can take a little nap ski to adjust for the sensation of being in different time zones. That's the optional The four-zone interior includes an optional rear stateroom. In other words, you don't have to have that. You can, if you don't want to include it in the package. I don't know what's going on with that stain on the carpet. I got to clean something spilled in there. Needs to be cleaned up. You want to see if we can clean it up? Let's play. So I'm going to zero in on this right here and press the cleanup button. Look at that. Pretty snazzy. Let's do a little more cleanup. That didn't work quite as well. All right. Now we can. This is not working. So now it looks like a shadow. That's better. That's a lot better. I'll say done. Yeah, now you don't see that the puddle going through the. Jeez, what kind of a picture is that? Jeez. So you can see here, this changes the shape of the underpart of the wing. You see in the front, you got these headers that come down. So now you have essentially a bigger arch underneath there, under the wing, which gives it more lift on takeoffs and landings. Gives them a different aerodynamic profile to increase the lift and enhance controls slower speeds. And it gives them access to shorter runways. Meaning under 10,000 foot runways. Oops. According to this article, for challenging airports such as London City, the aircraft needs extra lift and drag to be able to land at speeds as low as 120 knots. All right, I think now what do we got here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the Bombardier Global. Different pictures. There we go. 8,000 nautical mile. $83 million jet can fly nonstop between most of the world's major cities with an unprecedented level of comfort. Yeah, I'm sure Trump produces unprecedented level of comfort. Anyway, this is the new Bombardier 8000. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I had trouble with my Roadcaster. This little device right here, which mixes the audio. I have it working right over here to my left. Turned out it was the power supply. I'm trying to push that button, and this is, I push and push and push and push and push, and it wouldn't start. Turns out the power supply was kafooey. Someone was asking me what the iPhone Pro and the iPhone Pro Max look like. And you can see the line going down. I drew red diagonal lines. One is 6.3 and the other one is 6.9. So it's 0.3 of an inch larger diagonal measure. But it makes quite a difference. You add there's a lot more real estate on that bigger phone. And it still fits in the pocket. People say, obviously the smaller phone fits in the pocket a little bit easier, but nowadays with going on the internet and all that with the phones and looking at things and doing searches and looking at menus, the slightly larger phone, which I have right here in my hands, I have small hands and I can almost put my hand all the way around it, but for about an inch and a half. It fits in the pocket. Yeah, absolutely. Apple News about the tsunami. Let's see what's going on here. With some. I took the app off. Let's see. We open up. Welcome to Apple News. Okay. The U.S. economy posts strong second quarter, growing at a 3% pace. That's good. Trump says U.S. will impose a 25% tariff on everything coming from India. Here's a tsunami. The tsunami warning lifted from Hawaii after 8.8 magnitude earthquake in Russia. Certain medications can increase your risk when you're in the heat. I'm sure. Get out of the heat. Yeah, I got lots of stories here. This young lady drinks 1.5 liters of water a day, and here's how it changed her skin and body. Drink a lot of water and your skin gets better. Well, that's something nice about that story, huh? Let's see what happens if I... Oop, they want to... That's why I got rid of it. They want that old... you gotta pay. Forget that. All right. Helen's car is parked at her bank. One thing about the old Tesla app, it can keep track of what's going on. There we are. Dow Jones is about break even. Nothing much going on with the stock market today. After 1 hour being open, 2 points on 44,000. That's a decimal place with a lot of zeros in front of it. Yeah. That's like up 44 on 21,000. That's not much to talk about either. We'll just leave it on the weather. Put my watch on. There we go. Put in my magic password. There we go. Keeps track of my pulse. What's my pulse this morning? It's measuring it right in front of our eyes. Measuring, measuring, measuring. Currently at 70 beats per minute. Thank you very much. Dr. Brian Bethay and Jose Ordonez, my cardiovascular heart medical team of 2. Saved my fanny. How many years ago? Let's get out of this app. Pull down the middle. QUIT is the name of the app. Quit it. There you go. Just had my 7-year anniversary. 7-year, 1 month, 24 days is when I had quadruple bypass surgery. Whew. Yeah. I didn't smoke 26,000 cigarettes from the time I stopped smoking. I hit all my goals. I keep getting achievements. This is it right here. I keep track. I set this as the 0 point, June 5th, 7 years ago. 2018. Yeah, June 2018. That's when I stopped. You go to settings. So my surgery was on the 5th. So 6/6/2018 at 7 a.m. Oh, I guess that's when the surgery was. That's when it was June 5th. June 5th was when I was there. June 6th was the surgery day. Oh. You put all the information about what you were smoking and how many milligrams of tar, nicotine, carbon monoxide. Yeah. There you go. 7-year, 1 month, 24 days, 3 hours, and 28 minutes ago. Thank you very much for giving me this 7 years. That's the Quit app. Keeps track of an important day. I'll tell you what, it was a 10-hour surgery. Oh. They open you up like a Christmas turkey. And then they zip you closed. Oh, God. And in a couple of days, they get your ass out of bed to go to the bathroom. And they push you around. They don't let you rot in the bed, that's for sure. And all you want to do is just wake me up in 6 hours. Every 6 hours, they give you some medicine, mostly painkillers. Yeah. Then I gradually weaned myself from the painkillers. They would give me two Percocets, I think it was. So after a day of that, I said, how about giving me one of these every 6 hours instead of 2? So we cut it in half. So I went on with that, and it was a little more painful. And I said, all right, let's switch it to 1 every 8 hours. So it's, 3 times a day instead of 4 times a day. So I did that for a day. And I said, all right, let's do it twice a day. So it was one every 12 hours. And then on the last day, I said, let's just stop it. So we stopped it. Yep. Let's touch SpaceX and see what's going on. I was looking at SpaceX here to see when they're going to launch their Mars ship. Let's touch this one and see what's going on. Speed reading here. Ouch. Looking for a day. Yeah, we'll find that out. It's August. It's like somewhere in the first 10 days of August, I think. All right, I'll get back to you that on tomorrow. Floating around here, you're going to see the elapsed time meter right here, which I can make bigger. There you go. 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 43 seconds. There you go. So we're going to say goodbye for today, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Say okay. Everybody, say okay. That's the 30th. Yeah. I always close out with this familiar little design I came up with. Black and white with a little bit of a blue thingy in the background. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock.